Thank you guys for coming to this savings and budgeting program that we have. Melissa Turner is going to be presenting it tonight. And next month on September 7th, we're also going to do one on investing. And then October 5th, we'll be doing one on financing the golden years. So I'll give this to Melissa and she will take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. So I am Melissa Turner, and I brought with me my husband, Josh Turner, and my daughter, Emma, is the one that handed you papers as you came in. So Josh and I have a business called Turner Financial. Josh is an investment advisor, and I am a financial coach. And so what I do is help people look at their budget, find ways that they can make savings on their budget, just whatever they're struggling with. I work one-on-one with them to take a deeper look at their budget. I don't typically speak to a group, and I found it challenging when I talk to somebody one-on-one, I know exactly what issue they're wanting me to discuss. And doing a workshop is a little bit different, as I just kind of have to talk about the overall approach to it. So bear with me and understand I'm not a professional. All right, so at Turner Financial, our mission is to provide financial wisdom and investment services to anybody ready to seek financial freedom. And our vision is to create a community that is rooted in wisdom and striving for freedom, to be a source of knowledge and hope for their finances and their lives, and to live our lives in a manner that's pleasing to God and sets a good example to others. Okay, so when Susan asked me to present this seminar, I knew that it was right in line with what our mission and what our vision is. And so I'm thrilled to be here with you. So I'm here to give you some tools and to give you a lot of encouragement on how you can overcome what you're feeling about your finances. But if you were to just hear one thing and then walk out the door and not listen to any of the rest of it, the secret to winning with money is live below your means and save. It is so simple, yet it's so hard to accomplish that. We live in a world that is filled with things to spend our money on. We get ads in, every device that we open up. We can make purchases on our watches. We can make payment plans for a $4 online purchase. And so it's never been easier for us to spend money, and society has made it to where that's what we expect we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to have what they have. We're supposed to do what they're doing. And so the secret, if you don't get anything else, is to live below your means and save. Well, so what happens if you've already extended yourself and you're not living below your means? Studies show that 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That means that they are spending every penny that they are earning, and they don't have any money in savings to cover an emergency or anything that's going to happen. A study by American Psychology Today or Association found that 72% of people admit to feeling stress about money. And I think if I asked for a show of hands, we've all felt stress about money. It is part of our everyday. And the number one cause of arguments in a marriage is money. And I think we've all experienced those things in our lives, but it doesn't have to be that way. There are tools and there are ways that we can not fit into these percentages. All right, so Josh and I are Dave Ramsey fans. Dave Ramsey is the reason that we got to claim that we were debt-free, consumer debt-free, and he's the reason that we are able to come and share these things with you today. And so he has a very simple 7-step strategy. It's nothing fancy. There's no crazy math to it. It is just simple, step-by-step progress making steps. So the first one is to save $1,000 in your emergency fund. And this is because If you're already in debt, you're already using a credit card, if you have a hot water heater that goes out, you need some funding to pay for that emergency. Otherwise, you're just going to put it back on that credit card and add up more debt. So start out by having $1,000 in a savings account that is for emergencies only. And make sure that you define what an emergency is. Don't let want be an emergency. Make sure that they are needs. The second step is to pay off all debt. This is except for your mortgage, using the debt snowball, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Third step is save 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. And so you take, what would it take for me to pay all my bills for 3 months or for 6 months? And that's how much that you want to have in a fully funded emergency account. And that is for emergencies. It's not, for a vacation. Those are different savings. Fourth step is to invest 15% of your household income into retirement savings. 5 is save for your children's college fund. And 6 is pay off your home or your mortgage early. And you're going to be working on steps 4, 5, and 6 kind of simultaneously. Some of us are already at retirement age, and so we're not going to, put all of our focus on the investing 15% for retirement. Maybe more of our money is going to go to paying off the mortgage. If we don't have children, we don't have step 5 to worry about. And so steps 4, 5, and 6 kind of work together and depend on what your life situation looks like. And then step 7 is build wealth and give. Once you've gone through all of this, you're not feeling the stresses of living paycheck to paycheck. You don't have debt payments that you're paying on. And so your income is a greater tool that you get to use to build wealth and to be generous. Generosity is the most fun that you're going to have with money. I promise you. All right, let's see. So, since the Dave Ramsey steps take a long time, and it would be hard for us to go through all of it, and the seminar is about budget and saving, we are going to just kind of break off a chunk of it that we can utilize within this hour of time that we have. And so these are the action steps that I have that we are going to work through. And the first one is breaking up with debt. So the first step to breaking up with debt is to stop utilizing new debt. Don't take on any new debt. This is going to mean saying no to a lot of things. This is going to mean repairing the car instead of buying a new one. So whatever it takes for you to not utilize new debt, that's your first step. The second step is going to be to pay off all of your debt. And so when we talk about debt, we're talking about consumer debt. And so consumer debt is the amount that is owed by the consumer on purchases of goods and or services that are consumable, meaning you use them up, or things that depreciate in value. And so we're not talking about your mortgage debt when we talk about paying off debt, because your mortgage is an asset that increases in value and it can be looked at as an investment. And so for consumer debt, we're talking about these items. And so I'll just share with you some tidbits about these. So credit card purchases. I know, you pay it off each month, and that makes it fine. But what about when you lose your job and you don't have the money to pay it off that month? And now you are facing interest and late fees, and you've got a payment that is added to your monthly bills that was already tight. When you utilize a credit card for purchases, you don't feel the same emotional little that you do when you're paying with cash. Swiping a credit card is a simple and almost mindless activity. Like I said, we can make purchases on our watches now. And we don't feel that those pangs of, oh, I'm letting go of my money because it's just a little plastic card. And so stay away from credit card purchases. I know, maybe I'm using the reward points to save for a vacation. That's not gonna happen. You're not gonna earn enough reward points to, fully fund that vacation. And Dave Ramsey, in his book here, he talks about no one ever became a millionaire with their credit card reward points. So it's just, yes, there's rewards to it, but the risk that goes along with it is not worth it. Student loans. Oh, I know everybody has them. They're normal, they're fine. That's just what people do to pay for school. Fun fact that's not so fun is that the average payoff time frame for people's student loans is 21 years. And so if you graduate at 22 years old, you're paying on that student loan until you're 43. And so you're working hard to pay for something that you did 21 years ago. And so there are a lot of opportunities for scholarships and other funding, as well as having your student work through college. There is nothing wrong with a college student having a good, hard job. It teaches them time management and a lot of responsibility. So don't think that student loans is the only way that people can go to school. Vehicle loans. As soon as you get in that car and drive it out of that parking lot, you've lost 10% of the value of that car. And typically when you take out a car loan at the dealership, they'll offer you different years terms. Well, we can get your payment to this if you do a 9-year term. People are paying for their car loans for 9 years. And some people don't even keep their cars that long, and they just roll that loan into a new one. There's a lot of great used cars that you can get for a reasonable amount. So if you're shopping for a new car, it is best for you to save up and wait. And maybe you're going to compromise on what it is that you're selecting, but you're not going to be paying year after year. And we have normalized the thought that we're just always going to have a car loan. And so the average car loan is $532 a month. And we just expect that as long as we're driving, we're going to be paying that. And by the end of 30 years, that's $188,000 that we have spent on cars. If we were to take that $532 a month for those 30 years and invest it, let's say we got a 7% rate of return, we would have $611,000 instead of that $188,000 that we spent on a car. And yes, we do still need a vehicle to drive. Our towns are not walkable. It's too spread out. But even if you took a portion of that, paid a portion on a car and a portion invested, just think of what the rewards for that would be. Personal loans, you typically get them through a bank. They have high interest rates, and they typically require collateral in order to have them. So it's, I'm putting up something that I already own and saying, yes, you could potentially have this if I fail to pay off that loan. And so there's a lot of risks that go along with personal loans and high interest rates. So we talked about the step one is not taking on new debt. The second step is to pay off your debt that you already have using the debt snowball. And you have this here on the handout that I gave you. And so what you do is you list out all of your consumer debts, and you start with the smallest dollar amount. We're not looking at interest rates. We're not looking at anything other than what is your smallest debt. And so you still have to make payments on the other debts, but you're only going to make minimum payments on your other ones. And you're going to attack that smallest debt. You're going to put every penny that you can find extra in your budget to paying off that, let's say it's a $2,000 credit card bill. And so you're going to pay it off, and then you are going to use that money that you were gathering to pay towards that smallest one, and you get to start paying all of that on the second one. And then you get to knock it out. And then you get to start paying that on the third one. And so as you are paying these off, you are building momentum. If you put a snowball at the top of the hill and let it roll down, if it's the good kind of snow, it's going to collect more and more and more. And so by the time you're paying off your final debt, you have a nice chunk of money that you're getting to put towards paying on that final debt. And then you get to be debt free. You've broken up with debt. You've said goodbye. You're not taking them back because those relationships never work out. And then all of the income that you have really, truly gets to be yours, and it gets to work for you. Yes, sir.
Wouldn't it be better to pay off the highest interest?
Well, why do you think that would be?
That's how the math works.
The math. Okay. So when we're dealing with our budget, it is 80% behavior and 20% math. We're doing the debt snowball. We're starting with that small one so that we can knock it out and we can feel that accomplishment of, I'm done with that one. And then we get to move on to the next one. And so even if the interest rate, even if the math tries to make you think that that makes sense, the reward that you're getting is getting able to mark it off the list. You're getting to progress forward. You get to feel that relief of not having that anymore. So we're going to ignore the math and we're going to choose to use our behavior to take care of our debt snowball. Any other questions about debt or the debt snowball or anything? Okay, so we're going to move on to our next action step, which is to set goals. I like this paragraph from positivepsychology.com. It says, setting goals helps trigger new behaviors, helps guide your focus, and helps you sustain that momentum in life. Goals also help align your focus and promote a sense of self-mastery. In the end, you can't manage what you don't measure, and you can't improve upon something that you don't properly manage. And so we utilize goals to push us forward, to give us something to work towards. If you are in the middle of baby step 2 and you're tired of paying on your debt, you're going to give up. But if you can keep in your mind what it is you're working towards, then you're going to have the stamina to push through that. You're going to have the momentum to continue on that journey, even when it's hard. So we're going to do a little practice on setting goals. So you have a note card in front of you, and just quickly off the top of your head, I want you to jot down what you think your next 3 partially financial related goals might be. What are your next 3 financial goals? And you do not have to share these. So write whatever you want and then hide it if that's what you want to do. I'm curious what Josh is writing, guys. I hope they're the same as mine. Emma, do you have some?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
But your birthday already passed.
I still have money.
Oh, okay. So you can keep writing, but I'm going to put up on the screen a list of common financial goals. And so I want you to look through those and then look back at your note card. And I just want you to see, do these make you think of changing some or any of your financial goals that you wrote down? I love to cheer people on. So does anybody want to share what one of their next goals is? What is it, Susan?
Home repairs.
Home repairs. You must live in a house like mine. Not so new. Yeah, is that on the list, babe?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo!
I need that.
You need that one too? Yeah. Renee?
Same for the kids' college.
Yeah, college savings. Yeah. She brought Sarah with her so that she can start absorbing this.
I want her to get an idea so she can start saving money too.
Yes.
So.
There is a great documentary that you can, I believe, find on YouTube. It's called Borrowed Future. It was put out by Ramsey Productions, and it is just a great, powerful story about college debt. So I would highly recommend that for anybody that is approaching paying for college for their kids.
You said YouTube?
I think it is on YouTube, and it is called Borrowed Future. I know Josh made a change after seeing the list, and that is perfectly fine and healthy. Our goals are going to change as new things come up, and as our life changes, we're going to have changes in our goals. So something that Josh and I do is each year we get our little notebook out, and we kind of list out, and for us, it's home repairs. It's always home repairs, mostly always. And so we list out, if we had the money to, what would we do? And then we kind of prioritize that. And then as there's room in the budget, maybe we've saved up enough that it's time to tackle another project. We revisit that list of goals and kind of reevaluate who's number one on the list of goals and start tackling it that way. So it's very important to have your goals written because you do need to refer back to them as you're going through your life. Keep that note card and take it home with you because I am going to give you a little bit of homework. It is great and fine to write down simple little goals. However, it is super impactful if you turn them into SMART goals. And so SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And so you're going to take that home repair and you're going to be specific about what is that home repair. It's to refinish this bathroom or it's to recarpet the house. And you're going to put as many details that you can about that goal. And then you're going to make sure that it's something that you can measure. You don't want to start that project until you know that you have enough funds to tackle that project. You don't want to get halfway through it and then be like, oh, I'm out of money, I can't finish it. And so make sure that it is, has some measurement aspects to it. And make sure that it's realistic in what you desire to do, but also I did a coaching with somebody and, what are your goals? I want to be a billionaire. How are you going to do it? I don't know yet. Like, okay, can we start with 1 million? like let's make it attainable. If you set a goal that is so far out there that you don't have the ability to step towards it, it's going to be very discouraging and it's not going to be a real helpful goal. Relevant is, think about what is important to you. And then time sensitive, don't just say, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds by December. That way you can put yourself into an accountability role of, oh, it's November and I'm only 5 down. I'm not eating for the month, I guess. That's not healthy. Don't do that. Now we're going to talk about changing your money mindset. So we get our money mindset typically from how we were raised with money, what our parents taught us about money, how much they communicated about money. We also get our money mindset by looking at the world around us. And that can be a very dangerous thing. So I feel like in order to change your money mindset, that we need to acknowledge our poor money habits, we need to eliminate comparison, and we need to practice gratitude. And so to acknowledge your poor money habits, you have to look inward. You have to look at yourself and say, when do I struggle the most with my budget, with my finances? Is it retail therapy? When I feel stressed out, do I want to go shopping to alleviate that stress? Well, if your stress is about money and you're going shopping to alleviate that, there's just not a lot of wisdom behind it. Or maybe you failed to plan ahead for dinner, and so now you're swinging through the drive-through and paying more for that meal. Maybe it's shopping trips with friends. Maybe you've got friends, hey, let's go, to the mall and hang out. And if you are working on your budget and working on taking control of your money, maybe you need to say no to those shopping trips. And then who in here makes impulse buys? You at the store, you didn't plan on buying it. Josh is shaking his head no because he's not allowed to go to the store. You'll hear about that later. So we all make impulse buys. We see that thing on the clearance shelf, or we see that, yummy chocolate cake that we didn't need. Like, there are just things for us to buy and we want them. And so we get them. And so maybe you need to put boundaries on those impulse buys and just call yourself out on it and say, no, Melissa, you don't need to buy that chocolate cake. Put it away. Because you can make a chocolate cake a lot cheaper at home than you can buy one pre-made. We'll talk more about that later too. Impulse buys. You're in the store. There's this little piece of furniture and it would go perfect in your, breakfast nook, because that's an awkward room. And you've got to have it. Give yourself 24 hours. Just push pause on it. Give yourself time to go home and look at your budget. Go home and look at your goals list. Did this piece of furniture make it into my goals page that I made in January? And then also talk to your spouse and see if, they're in agreement on that purchase. And I believe that within a marriage that you should always have a dollar amount that's kind of you can't buy this without, and I'm going to use the word permission because I don't know another word for it and that sounds oppressive, but you can't buy something over $50 without discussing it first. You can't buy something over $100, whatever fits into your budget. But so just give yourself time to look over those things. And if it's still there tomorrow when you go get it, then it was meant to be, right? And if it wasn't, it was not meant to be. All right, eliminate comparison. Dave Ramsey says that we buy things with money we don't have to impress people, or buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't even like. Maybe we need that new car because we want the neighbors to see our new car. We didn't need the new car, we can't afford the new car, but we bought it because we want it to be seen. And so social media, just turn it off, just get off. If you're struggling with comparison, if you are, having that, oh, they have that, I want that, just eliminate those sources of comparison in your life. And then, my oldest son, oh, look at that car. And my reply to him would be, oh, imagine the debt, and that's not fair because I don't know if they were in debt for that car, but I assume they were because that seems to be the norm. And so don't look at what other people have and, assume that they just have it all together and that they're just winning with money, because, 78% of us, we're in debt. Live your life, not theirs. Know your money and know your goals and make sure that you're doing what is best for you and your family. And then the last thing on your money mindset is to practice gratitude. We live in a nation that we are so incredibly blessed. We have clean water, we have air conditioning, we have transportation that can get us all over the nation, all over the world. We really, truly are so incredibly blessed. And so when you're feeling those pangs of, money stress, just stop for a moment, look around at what you have and what you're working towards, and just remember to be thankful for that. And I think that will help you, push through and continue to conquer your goals. All right, we are now gonna work on creating your budget. And so I know that you don't have everything that you're gonna need with you today, but I do want you to start putting numbers on this paper. And then I want you to go home and I want you to keep putting numbers on this paper. So this is what we're looking for right now. These are reasons that you should budget. You should budget to take control of your money. You should budget to achieve your financial goals, and you should budget to relieve stress. Those all sound like real good things to me. I think I'll budget. These are excuses that people have for why they don't budget. They feel like a budget is too restrictive, and Dave Ramsey would tell you that a budget actually gives you permission to spend. It just helps you tell what you're going to spend it on. You're deciding. It's your budget. It's your money. And it's not restrictive. It is giving you permission. I don't need to do a budget because, financially we're doing pretty fine. Okay, you're doing fine. Do you have some goals that, maybe you could work towards faster? Do a budget. Find where your money is at. Take control over it and put it to work doing what you want it to do. Oh, but a budget takes too much time. A budget does take time, but it's going to allow you to use your income to best serve you. And so I would say that that's worth some of my time. It's going to take you about 3 months before you really have a good hold on what your budget should look like. And once you get that routine of what your budget looks like, you're going to spend maybe an hour a week looking back over it, making some adjustments, but it's not a giant time consumer. So I'm not buying into that it takes too much time. And then I'm bad at math. I don't need to do a budget. I don't want to do a budget because I'm bad at math. Well, we already mentioned that your budget is 80% behavior. So are you bad at behavior? I hope you're not. There's apps and software and worksheets that will do the math for you. There's dollar calculators at Walmart. So I'm bad at math just is not an excuse that is going to hold up for me. Okay, so the budget that we are going to work towards is called a zero-based budget. And that means all of your income for the month minus all of your expenses should equal 0. And that sounds like you're spending everything, and you are spending everything if by spending we mean telling it where it's going to go. So your zero-based budget is going to include what you're putting in savings for your emergency fund. It's going to include what you're putting in savings for your home repairs. It's going to include what you're putting in your envelope system to pay for maybe that annual bill that is due. And so you're telling all of your income what it's going to pay to every dollar, so that you don't have little dollars out running around, not doing your job. You're in charge. It's your money. You earned it. And so you want to make sure that you are being the boss of it. So many people use different tools to write their budget. Some people have a spreadsheet, and this is actually the spreadsheet version. And I'm happy to email it to anybody that enjoys working with spreadsheets. Spreadsheets aren't for everybody, so there's worksheets. This is $3 at Dollar General in the stationery aisle, and this is a monthly budget little binder. And so you're going to take your bills and your receipts, and it has a nice little pocket folder that's not opening. And so you put all those down in there, you list them out, you track them, you add them up, and this is just a binder or a notebook type of budget. You can use a pen and paper, pencil and paper, because you're going to be erasing, you're going to make changes, because you're not going to have your budget perfect ever. It's always going to require some changes. And then there's apps. I'm going to say there are hundreds, maybe thousands of different smartphone apps that you can utilize to do your budget. Josh and I choose to use Every Dollar. It is from Ramsey Solutions. So if I talk about something, you can probably find it on ramseysolutions.com. So if I fail to share something with you, chances are it is there. So the Every Dollar app, there is a free version where you type in all of your transactions. There's also a plus version where you pay, you sign up for the Ramsey Plus membership, which right now is $129 per year, and you get Every Dollar Plus for that year. And Every Dollar Plus allows it to connect to your bank account to where it is pulling the transactions automatically over into your budget screen. And all you're doing is then putting your finger on it and swiping it into gas, groceries, electric bill. For us, it cuts all of the time of data entry, and it makes it quick and easy enough that we actually stick with it. We're not perfect budgeters. I'm not here today to tell you that we've got it all together. I'm here today because, I have some knowledge and passion about this, and I want to share it. And so we use the Every Dollar Plus and let it steal our info from our bank account. And I know some people are not comfortable with that, and I understand, and that's why there's so many other options. But for us, we have found that that is the method that makes us stick with it. Yes.
What if you accidentally make an impulse buy?
Well, I'll tell you about
It
that.
wasn't budgeted.
I'll tell you about that soon.
Oh,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are going to be tracking every expense that comes in, and you're going to be estimating. So your budget is an estimation of your finances. And so before the month begins, you estimate what you think you're going to spend in all of the categories. And you write that down in your budgeted line. As the month goes on, you are actually tracking those expenses and you're going to make corrections. And so if, let's find a funny one. I thought there was a pet something on here, not that, pet supplies. So, you budgeted $40 for pet supplies, but you went to Sam's Club and they had this magnificent cat tree that your cats just had to have it. It was $80. So I've busted my budget in that category, but I checked with my spouse and he said it was okay. And so we did it. And so now I have $40 below my zero. And so I have to find another category, and it's typically going to be entertainment or food, like eating out, that you're going to cut $40 out of that and move it into your pet care to cover that adjustment. So that's why you're going to be looking at your budget at least every week, is because you're not going to estimate it perfectly. And so as those transactions come in, you go back to your budget, and that's why there's an actual spent column on this worksheet. Any questions on that? Yes?
How about you do groceries? Because, you buy groceries almost every week.
Yeah.
So you got one line, so you just basically continue.
Okay, so that's where the Every Dollar app or using a spreadsheet comes in handy, because you can then expand those categories to be more. And so you would probably have a side spreadsheet. If you were choosing to do a worksheet, you would probably have a running total list of all of those grocery transactions, or every time you fueled up your car. Because yes, when you're dealing with just a worksheet and you have one spot for each thing, adjusting it becomes quite difficult. That's why there's pencils and not pens, because you are adjusting. But yeah, the apps allow you to expand those categories, and then spreadsheets would allow you to expand those to where you weren't having to do that additional list of transactions. Anything else on that?
Does that app that you're talking about, Melissa, does it, like if you had went to Walmart and spent $200, but 40 of it's for dog food?
Yeah.
Does it let you separate food and
It does.
essentials
You
or
just,
whatever.
you click the transaction and you tell it that you want it to split, and then you click the different categories that you want it to go in, and you tell it 40 in pet, and, 140 in groceries, and some people separate out their household goods from their groceries. I don't, because we live in Walmart country, and, you buy everything at one store, so it's on one transaction. So I do groceries and, laundry soap and bath soaps. Those are all in my grocery category, just because that's how my transactions come through. But yes, if you do want to split it out, this is pets, this is household, this is groceries, every dollar plus does allow you to split it. And you can do that manually on a spreadsheet just by only putting 40 in the pet column, 140 in groceries. So you can do that on your own, but yes, every dollar does make it super simple. Don't forget to budget for things like birthdays, Christmas, back to school time, quarterly pest control, any of those transactions that you don't have each month. One way that you can make sure that you have money to pay those is using an envelope system. So this is the Dave Ramsey envelopes, and what you do is you would say that, $40 a month I'm saving for birthday money, and you would have an envelope that was for birthday money, and you take the cash out of your account and you put it in the envelope, and then when somebody's birthday comes up, you've got the cash there to spend instead of having to cut your poor pet care bill or budget so that you can cover your cousin's birthday. I mean, on your budget sheet that you have here, there's a little picture of envelopes next to a few of them. That is just a little suggestion that, hey, this makes a good envelope category. So as you're looking for that, just kind of make notice of those things and think about, would that be beneficial for me? This is just, I call it fun info. I just talked about stopping comparisons, but on this, I actually do want you to kind of compare. So this is the recommended percentages. So they kind of take in like what a good average amount to spend in each category, and broken it down in percentages. So as you're doing your budget, just look and make sure that you are making the best choices in a category. I know when we first started budgeting, our restaurant budget was not a pleasing number. We looked at it and it's just like, I don't like restaurants that much. I don't want to pay them that much. And, I don't know that we were over the 15%, but it just wasn't how we wanted to be spending our money. That was budgeting. This is saving. So just some quick tips on how we can save money. So for me, the best way that I could save money would be to do a meal plan and to actually grocery shop based off of that meal plan, instead of just going to the store and wandering around and picking up things to put in my cart, and then I get home and I still have nothing to make for dinner. So I grab a pizza on the way home. True stories there. So making a meal plan is a good way that you can be intentional about your grocery spending. And I talked with a family that was very intentional about their grocery spending. They would make a meal plan, and then they would go to Walmart.com and they would do a grocery pickup order of exactly what they needed for those meals, and that prevented them from going in and making those impulse buys and grabbing that packet of Oreos. And so for them, that was just that, safeguard that they put in place to hold themselves accountable on their grocery spending. So buying generic, I know some things that are generic, they are not the best. But you don't know that until you've actually tried it. And so if you can, give it a shot, see if it's worth it, and shop the sales. Grocery stores are still doing weekly ads. They're online now and not in the newspaper, but shop the ads, look and see what they have on sale that week, and, don't go to I always go to this store, look at the ads and see if there's something there that is a lot cheaper than elsewhere. Avoid convenient packaged foods, those little, not sample size, serving size bags. You are paying so much more for that to be individually packaged than if you were going to buy it in a bigger portion. And you're causing a lot of waste too. So that's, and then in the produce area, you can get vegetables and stuff that are already cut up. You're paying somebody to do that work for you. You're paying more for those items. Maybe your budget can afford that. Maybe you don't want to pay somebody to cut your own vegetables. You'll spend the time doing it yourselves. Buying in bulk. Personally, we buy our meat from Sam's Club, and then I take it home and put it in portions and freeze it, because the price per pound is cheaper than to go get it at the standard grocery stores. Not everything that's in bulk is a better deal, so you do have to kind of take some time to evaluate some pricing on that. And then don't shop when you're hungry, because you're gonna get that chocolate cake, I promise you. And don't take your husband or your kids.
What do you mean?
If your focus is saving money on your groceries, don't take them with you. They will destroy your budget every time, I promise. And then these are some good apps. Smartphones are in almost everybody's pocket. And so these are some good apps for saving money. Some of them do require your personal information. Some of them do track your locations. So make sure that you are comfortable with what that app provides for you, or does in order to provide that service for you. But Gas Buddy will tell you the cheapest price for gas in your area. You put in your zip code and it tells you where your cheapest one is. Ibotta has coupons. Make sure that you're not using the coupons just to use the coupons, or it's a cashback coupon. Make sure that it's items that you would have purchased anyway, because otherwise you're not saving yourself any money. You're making impulse buys because it was a good price. Does anybody have, yes, Emma?
So for the Gas Buddy, you don't have to get the app. You could just go to Google Maps and it will tell you at the gas stations how much it is.
Thank you, Emma. So you click the little box that's gas station
Yeah.
at the
and
top of your
and
Google
it'll
map.
tell you the price per gallon.
Okay. Anybody else have a tool that they enjoy utilizing for saving?
What's that fourth one down?
The fourth one down is Rakuten. It is similar to Ibotta. It is a cashback program, and so for certain items that they have a cashback offer on, you'll get, it's a coupon that they kind of store in your Rakuten account. All right, and so some additional savings tips. Check your insurance rates. Make sure that you're not paying more premiums than what your insurance is covering. I'm not telling you to skimp on your insurance. I'm not telling you to cut part of your insurance. Make sure you have adequate coverage, but a lot of us choose our insurance company because, well, our friend works there and they've, kind of recruited us there. They might not have the best rates, friend or not. If you're focusing on taking control of your money, then those rates are going to be important, and hopefully they'll still be your friend anyway. So you would get your policy that you have, and it's going to tell you that you have a 500, 100, 500. And so you would call an insurance company and say, hey, I'm shopping rates. This is the vehicle and home I have. This is the coverage I have. Can you beat that rate? So make sure you have your current policy so that you have the information to make sure that they're giving you the exact comparison. So cancel automatic subscriptions and memberships. You know, that gym membership that you got in January and you stopped going by February. Hopefully you did not have a contract on that and you can cancel it. Maybe your children have already watched everything they're gonna watch on Disney Plus. Go ahead and cancel it. So anything that is an automatic that you're gonna forget about before the next time that payment cycles through, if you're not using it, don't pay for it. Say goodbye to cable. I would seriously doubt if there's anybody in here that does still have cable, but if you do, this is my plea to you to let it go. Just say goodbye to it. There are so many streaming opportunities. If you have internet, you have TV opportunities that are so much cheaper than cable. And so if you still are hanging on to cable, this might be your little nudge to let it go. Reduce your energy costs. Home efficiency makes a big impact on your energy costs, but you know, taking a minute off of each shower. You know, if you've got a family of 4 and everybody is absorbing the hot water heater energy and the water consumption, like you can cut down on those things, turning off the lights, turn that thermostat up 1 degree. Like you can sweat it out at 1 degree. This is for Josh.
As well as the lights. He goes
And the
around
lights.
the house and turns the
Yeah,
light on.
turn off some lights. We're not in there. Don't need it on. Then unsubscribe from emails. I get emails from Old Navy and they tell me that they have kids' pants for $10, and for some reason, even though they have 8 pair of pants in their closet, I feel like they need more pants because they're only $10. And so if you have emails that are coming to you that just pull at those temptations that you have, unsubscribe to that email. Get that out from in front of your face so that you can focus. And then my not shameless plug is to utilize the library. Books are expensive. $10 for a cheap one, $20 for a normal one, $40 for some reason if the author thinks that they're fantastic. So utilize the library. And I would encourage everybody to go to rogerspubliclibrary.org and check out the e-media section. The amount of online content that we have access to as library members is pretty amazing. So rogerspubliclibrary.org, e-media. Thanks for coming.